think we've lost one of the greatest individuals, at least in my lifetime, Muhammad Ali. And when we think of Muhammad Ali, some of us immediately think of a boxer, but I think he was more than that. He was a humanitarian. He probably might be considered one of the most famous Muslims to live. If you mention Muhammad Ali's name in any parts of the world, people respond. If you're African American traveling around the world and somebody says, "Oh, you're African American," they think, Muhammad Ali. That's how it used to be. Definitely before, Obama became president. And when I look at Ali having that sort of international presence on the world stage, I go back and think of people like Paul Robeson having that presence. To some extent, Harry Belafonte has that presence. It's very hard to find individuals who capture, the consciousness of the world, especially through sports. They have to be larger than life to really be able to say, hey, I'm not interested in boxing, but I have to follow this person. And I think his lesson and message to all of us is standing up for principles. Muhammad Ali, spoke out against the Vietnam War. At a time when he was very popular. It was not the thing that many people expect him to do. He lost a lot of fans. He lost his ability in terms of income, in terms of providing a lifestyle. And that's the thing where you pretty much have to admire a person, standing up for that. That's the lesson that we want to teach our young people, that, there's fame, there's this and that, but then there's principle. And many times what happens, that's how you will be remembered. You remember as a person who not just got hit in the ring, got knocked down, but a person who in life got hit and got knocked down and got back up. And so I think that when we look at, Muhammad Ali as hero, I think he represents that. And to take that journey where we saw a number of years ago where he was lighting that Olympic flame, keep in mind, that was a long journey, because you go back and look at how people were talking about him even when he changed his name. Okay, people didn't want to accept his name change, and then we talk about the sports announcers still calling him Cassius Clay, and I think it was the Ernie Terrell fight, where he was sort of punishing the person because the guy had not acknowledged his name in the pre-fights. And so he would say, hey, what's my name? Pow. What's my name? Pow. What's my name? Pow. And, when you think about that, what it means for you to hold on to your name, what for you to be received in terms of, especially this transition. It was very important at that time, a name change for an African American person, because it meant a new type of thinking, coming out of the Nation of Islam where, these names are slave master names and things of that sort. And so what happened, Ali also represents this new black consciousness, this at a time when we talk about black power and black beauty. And I'll mention this about black beauty, because he was a person that said, I'm pretty, I'm beautiful. That was one of the first things he would say after a fight. See, look at me, look at the other guy, see me? Yeah, I'm pretty. And that was a thing where, that sense of say, I'm black and I'm beautiful. I think Ali has to be given a lot of credit for that. And I look at how he affected other athletes. I mean, the only person I can see have that sort of defiance and racial pride, at least in my lifetime, would probably be the football player Jim Brown, who had that type of thing like, you will define me on my terms, okay? And that's something that you have to really admire. And I think that when we look back and look at Muhammad Ali's legacy, it is huge. It is huge. And I think we have to remember him as a Muslim, in this changing world, where we just want to sort of airbrush the fact that, okay, we'll take this part of Muhammad Ali and forget about this, He was very much a Muslim. And then I add the other M to his life, because he was also a magician. He always liked to play little magic games and stuff like that. And I think that it's something even later in life when he was suffering from Parkinson's, he was still performing these acts of magic, which I felt was very, very important to see him that way in the later part of his life, because I felt there was something magical about his entire life. There was times when people thought that he knocked somebody out and we didn't see the punch, And so I look at, Muhammad Ali, the magician, as well as this tremendous person that, touched all our lives. And this is where, I wrote this poem earlier today, Ali. And the last line is, yes, now's the time to, to cut the gloves off. Because that's when the boxing is over. And you might recall in one of his early fights, I think the one against Sonny Liston, where some ointment had gotten his eyes. He couldn't see. And he almost just said, look, I'll just cut the gloves off, I can't see. And what happens is that he was able, to get through that fight. But I used that line, in terms of the cutting off the gloves, because that's what it means when a boxer finishes the fight. In this case, Ali has left us, and so we finally cut the gloves off.